Two men were at lunch on a warm summer's day, a father and son at an outdoor cafe. The father all white, the son starting to gray. The years in their bond were both slipping away. They outward had smiles, they inward had scars. Their road trip relationship took separate cars. The father still hoped that they'd grow to be friends, despite all their roadblocks, wrong ways, and dead ends. Their plates had been cleared and the bill long since paid, yet still sat the father, so there the son stayed. The silence between them could represent more, a decades-long decrease in healthy rapport. The waiter came by to refill the son's drink. No hurry, that courtesy spoke with a wink. A bird perched nearby, the son wished it would stay. It briefly remained, then it flitted away. A droplet of water condensed on his glass. He watched it descend as he let the time pass. The ice shifted restlessly, fanning the air, as if the dense silence were too much to bear. The hesitant so that the father then cast was baited and hooked on a line to the past. We're not very close, we're becoming estranged. We used to be closer, I don't know what changed. We try to connect on the things that we share, but as we grow distant, there's less to compare. If I didn't visit, then we'd never speak. I'm not finding fault, I don't want to critique. The father kept talking at his silent son. Just talk yourself out, he thought, then we'll be done. And lately when I want to hear my son's voice, I'll call for your voicemail, I've no other choice. I wish we were closer, you've put up a wall. I wish you would answer the phone when I call. I give you advice, so what more can I do? You thank me each time, but you don't follow through. The son laughed and said, I'm not really sure why you think your advice I could ever apply. Our goals aren't the same and I can't overstress. Our values and interests align even less. When giving advice on what others should do, we're saying here's what I'd do if I were you. Advice that you give often won't ever do for anyone other than those just like you. In your mind, the path is an easy straight line. If only I'd listen, then all would be fine. To you, all my problems are easily solved. The fixes are simple, no questions involved. But maybe my path from your A to your B involves going through C, D, E, F, and G. It's true, we're quite different of mind and of heart. Though seated together, we're miles apart. The father said, tell me then what else to do to be the best father I can be for you. The son didn't pause, he knew just what to say. His heart began speaking in quite a new way. The best thing to do as a father for me is be the best grandfather that you can be. Your role as a father is done, take a bow. Your grandson needs you more than I need you now. It's clear you sincerely mean all that you've said. It comes from your heart, if not much from your head. Your thinking must broaden if you're to attain the proper perspective, so let me explain. We each see ourselves as uniquely complex. Our problems are nuanced in their own respects. But we see most others as plain to assess, while lacking perspective will never possess. And others see others and think they know best, while seeing the surface but blind to the rest. For when we see others, we can't see details, dismissing all nuance and all that entails. Their surface projections seem simple, 2D, like flickers of outlines from shapes we can't see. In seeing the shadows upon the cave walls, there's much of the other we can't see at all. And while we're all similar in every way, inside we're unique, each a rare shade of gray. Our internal lives are a bubbling stew, a cauldron of doubts and fears hidden from view. Your grandson's a bright kid, he's got a sharp wit, but hasn't yet learned just how hard life can hit. You fought some hard battles, your scars you have earned. There's much you can share of these lessons you've learned. Advice says, now listen, here's what I would do in this given circumstance if I were you. It's narrowly focused, not widely applied. It serves as instructions and not as a guide. But wisdom applies in a general way. It's not a stone tablet with rules to obey. It says this inscription is not holy writ. It's yours to interpret just as you see fit. And wisdom is humble, it makes no decree. It says, though I know you, there's much I can't see. So here are some principles for your review, but when, if, or how they apply is on you. Those principles come without guidelines or rules. They're less strict instructions, more a good set of tools. You're in your life's sunset, you've so much to share. Your wisdom can skip me, let him be its heir. The father said, many, more worthy than I, have put pen to paper, so why should I try? They use lofty language describing great truths with words that inspire both grown-ups and youths. Old men, said the sun, from low station to crown, assembled their wisdom and wrote it all down. The themes were the same, but the details unique. They wrote with shared passion, but different technique. Your grandson has much he can learn from those men, but nothing that flowed from his grandfather's pen. And wouldn't you like to remain by his side long after your voice and its echo have died? For life is a fighter who wins by KO. There's no split decision, there's no towel to throw. And sometimes we stand there alone in the ring, defenseless from all the sharp jabs life can bring. Your wisdom can't teach him how not to get hurt, but how to keep fighting with blood on his shirt, to roll with the punches in life's epic bout, to keep getting up until finally called out. This might take more effort than you think it should. We're often unskillful before we're quite good. Just think of the summit and not of the climb. You give your words life, then they'll live for all time. And unlike the picture of Dorian Gray, your words will stay handsome when you're in decay. While age is an asset this side of the sticks, just finish before you turn -6. The father sat silent, then started to grin. The grin turned to laughter. The son then joined in. A barrier cracked and some sunlight came through. It warmed the son's heart, and it healed some scars too. They shook hands then hugged as they said their goodbyes. Some droplets condensed on their happy bright eyes. They strengthened a bond that had started to fray, connecting all 3 generations that day. That night the son thought that it just might be true. His words to his father applied to him too. I needn't be grandfather, guru, or sage to transcribe my thoughts into words on a page. But what could my nephew see as my remit? I haven't eternal truths, wisdom, or wit. I've lettered no texts, penned no books on the shelf. Whatever I write then must speak for itself. But why would he read it, and why should he care? I have no credentials of which he's aware. I lack great accomplishments that he would prize. I wonder what value I have in his eyes. There's one thing, however, I know I can share. The spell that I'm under, a magic so rare. It took hold of me just a few years ago. My life changed forever, though progress is slow. The feeling I had was like falling in love, though wasn't romantic or sent from above. It gave my life purpose I'd not felt before. My past was mere prelude, a warm-up, no more. The magic's a dream from which I just awoke. Impressions are solid, but details are smoke. It's easier lived than described or portrayed. Like hunger or thirst, it's more felt than conveyed. I'll do what I can with the tools that I've got, but lacking the words, I'm a theme with no plot. I don't know the chords to this song that's within. I'll hum if I must, but I've got to begin. No sleep would be coming if he didn't start. He calmed down his thoughts and he opened his heart. And hearing it whisper that gentle good night, he sat at his desk and he started to write. His heart spoke a language not heard until then. His mind tried translating, his hand held the pen. But mostly his words came without conscious thought. The form that they took wasn't studied or taught. When I was quite young, all the grown-ups would say, attend the right schools and you'll be on your way. Life is a path down which you must progress. Just make the right choices, you'll be a success. The tracks to your future are already laid. You pay for your ticket by making the grade. That station is busy, you're never alone. Its platform is crowded, its schedule is known. And sometimes you're asked to help widen your view, to broaden your thoughts on just what you can do, to get you to think on a much bigger scale. What would you do if you knew you'd not fail? It's fun driving mental roads paved to our goals until we consider the potholes and tolls. And sometimes like fireflies floating about, before you can catch them, their fire's gone out. But there is a train on a magical track, and once you're aboard, there is no going back. Its platform is empty and hidden from view. You don't buy a ticket. It's issued to you. There's something inside that is yearning to grow, but often our ground is too barren to sow. The soil, the water, the sunlight, the seed, these all are required, but not all you need. The spark to start sprouting and then effloresce are powered by love and by luck's soft caress. The voice deep within that's less whisper than shout proclaims to the world, this is what I'm about. To help find the path that turns want into need, ask what you would do knowing you'd not succeed. That what might be something that you can't not do, a purpose whose whispers are calling to you. I was a grown man when my passion found me. It came without warning or hesitancy. No greeting was offered, no shaking of hands. It asked no permission. It made no demands. Its message was clear, though it spoke without sound. While once I was lost, now my purpose was found. It's hard to describe, even harder to name, the magic, the power, the strength of this flame. One can't see the change on a cardiogram, but change it did bring, from I was to I am. My old self passed on, a restart of my heart. I knew that my ending was only my start. It's precious and powerful, mighty and frail. It must be protected, yet arms you in mail. If you find your passion, the signal is blared. The train's engine starts, all aboard is declared. You'll hear grown-ups say in their all-knowing way, just love what you do and you'll work not one day. But if you are driven by must, not just should, you work twice as hard as you otherwise would. To study the nuance while honing your craft, to relish the process, each trial and draft. Your drive isn't just for your personal sake, the social prestige, or the money you'll make. Achievement is not always getting first place, promotions, advancements, or winning the race. Sometimes it means drawing from your deepest wells, to conjure your magic, to cast your own spells. I can't lead you to the grail herein expressed, but knowing it's possible might aid your quest. Your journey requires no sword and no horse. No round table knights can assist on this course. Like lightning or love, when it strikes, there's no doubt. But luck is a factor, you can't plan it out. It might never happen, it might be next week. I make no predictions, your path is unique. Just open your heart and your eyes, ears, and mind. You might find your passion, or you it might find. It might choose a moment for greatest effect, for magic at times comes when you least expect. This letter is my best attempt to impart the best I can give from the depths of my heart. It's not to convince you, it's not to persuade, it's just my perspective, these thoughts I've conveyed. Your parents, grandparents, aunts, and uncles too, we're all in your corner, we're cheering for you. So use what you can from the help that we give. May magic be yours for as long as you live. He laid down his pen and he took a deep breath. He had no more words, like Macduff from Macbeth. His heart was at rest and his active mind still. He shared all he could to the best of his skill. He folded the letter to file away, to give to his nephew on some future day. I'll know when he's ready, he thought to himself, and placed this first manuscript up on the shelf. Perhaps, he thought briefly, I'll post this somewhere, like 95 Theses near Wittenberg Square. This letter's for sharing, or else it's for naught. So maybe I'll publish on YouTube, he thought.